Hello everybody, I am back on a windy, gusty day in Texas. How is that different than any other day? Alrighty, it's so windy I had to retreat to this patio next to T1. So basically it's windier than normal, I would say, even for Texas. And I of course picked an interesting day to try to practice throwing. But anyways, what I've decided to do is try a little trick. I had sort of experimented with it last week in a throwing video where I was trying to learn how to throw better. And this trick is essentially getting your offhand, putting it on your bicep of your throwing hand, and essentially you're going to do this. You're going to do this, but instead you're going to grab a disc, put it in the proper angle. You want basically 90-degree angle here, 90-degree angle here. And so the goal is to throw that way and use this to help make sure that you don't round. So this arm does not go in like that and cause issues with your shoulder. So by locking it in like this, you can basically throw like that. So when the wind calms down just a little bit, I'm going to set up next to the tee pad, and I'm probably just going to throw with the wind behind me, because the wind is so tough, so strong, it's going to affect my ability to throw into it, but I don't mind throwing with it. So this is what my cart is doing right now. It's basically set against this table to help prevent it from rolling over. I may try to put it out there and then reverse the orientation of this cart and see if it'll put up with the wind, but the wind is blowing that way right now, and I think I need to tip this the other direction. I think if I have this cart in this direction, it may act less like a wind sail with this profile, but it's well over 20-mile-per-hour winds and gusts over 30 at this point. So this is going to be interesting filming this, if I'm able to film anything at all today. So essentially what this is supposed to look like is this, and then I basically do something like that, but it's easier to attempt that when I'm not actually throwing. And this is really challenging, trying to throw with this arm here. But the arm is basically a guide, and if I could use it to help me do this, that's what I'm going to do. So here I am at hole 1, and I've got this facing this way, so hopefully this will work out. All right, if this doesn't complicate things, I don't know what will, between the wind and me trying something new. And the tee pad. Let me adjust this. All right, take 2, action. Putting it like this. Yeah, that's definitely weird trying to throw right above my arm. Let's see, pouring coffee. See if you can even see me. Yeah, this is very challenging. I don't think I'm going to be able to leave my offhand connected to my arm when I throw. I think it's causing me to hyzer, as well as release early when I do release. That was decent, but I'm not sure that's what I was wanting to attempt. All right, so I brought my camera with me to go pick up those 4 discs and retry. So if the angle isn't perfectly like it was before, my apologies. I had to take the camera with me because I didn't want it to be damaged in case the cart blew over. So I'm going to try it again. That was a little better. I tried not using the off arm in terms of grabbing my throwing arm, but still duplicate what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go towards the basket. I won't tell what I'm doing right or wrong, unfortunately, until I edit this in post. It's all arm. Alrighty. Keep in mind that deliberately I am not using my off arm to help me compress my shoulders and throw farther. Also keep in mind I'm not attempting to work on my brace or anything else like that regarding footwork. I'm only trying to work on rounding. That is preventing this arm from coming in unnaturally like that. That's all I'm doing today. Okay, one thing to keep in mind that all of my discs are going to be more overstable with the wind blowing so harshly. Number two, I believe due to the way that I'm pouring coffee, I'm releasing at a hyzer angle, and unfortunately it's causing me to throw like this, so I'm effectively creating a mini air bounce when I throw. So that's something I'm going to have to work on. That said, I've got 20+ mph winds right now. I'm going to keep throwing because all I'm working on here is the rounding. I think the wind pushed that into the ground a tiny bit, but I kind of liked the way that felt. Sorry if my frisbee hit the mic. Everything else just coming out low and they're dropping. I think partially because of the environment, partially what I'm doing to these discs in this attempted throw. The only good news, I think, is that I'm not rounding. I think I'm screwing everything else up though. Yeah, I feel like I'm throwing like this. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the disc and I'm throwing like this. That's an exaggeration, but that's what I feel like I'm doing. Like I'm doing this with my throw. So everything comes out like this and curves hard and or drops in the wind. All right, and now we're gonna try something different. I've moved the cart forward a few feet and angled it sideways so you can get more of a side view of what I'm doing. Hopefully, you can see enough of what I'm doing at largely a side view, somewhat diagonal, but I'll be looking at this footage. So again, I'm gonna do this, try to get it more of a 90-degree angle. I don't want the wrist to do that, I want it to do this. I'm gonna do something like this. And, okay, about the back of the frame. That went straight towards the basket about 180 feet and then started curving. So again, super stable, and I'm leaning. So let's try it again. Back of the frame, I can see the viewfinder up front. And again, I'm gonna go that way towards the basket. You know, and the thing is, I could stand at the edge of the tee and throw all arm with terrible form and reach the basket because it's less than 250 feet away. Here, only one disc has even come within 20 feet of the basket. So it's very frustrating to work on my form and go through that worse before it gets better part when it's so much worse than using bad form. I threw that towards the ground. It hit the ground about 100 feet away, and slid up to about 150. Let's try to aim a little higher. Back of the frame. Flew about 160 feet before hitting the ground, and of course faded hard to maybe about 200, but it's a good 30 feet out from the basket. All right, so here I am. 2 of the discs were just outside the circle. The other 2 discs were a good 100 feet away. So it's not good. Where am I? Okay, back of the frame. Wind starting to pick up again. Perfect timing. That's the closest I've come to good form all day. That may almost be inside the circle, or it's certainly circle's edge. Let's try that again. Go super slow. It feels positively glacial the way I'm throwing. Now I threw that towards the ground. Something about this new form, I'm doing that. I'm doing pa, and that's not good. That's not how you're supposed to throw discs. So something about how I'm throwing, I'm gonna have to analyze this in slow-mo. There we go. I made a conscious effort to go up. Now the wind is well over 20 miles an hour. I'm going to try to do this a little straight. Wow, it basically threw straight and then hooked hard. All right, so that leopard throw was about 25 feet from the basket, straight between here and there. So that was my best throw with a fairway driver today. So I'm gonna have to analyze that, find what's good in that, and try to replicate that as much as possible. Because as bad as that is, like I can stand still, throw a leopard and hit the cage. I'll have to take my victories when I can get them. All right, now I've dropped down to mid-ranges. The tailwind is so much that I think that I might be able to get a better look at understable discs that way. So here's my Manta, it's understable. Mid-range, I'm going to try to do the same thing. I want to see if I can get it to turn at all. So yeah, let's see if we're going to do that. Went straightish, tried to turn, could not. I would say I at least hyzer flipped it slightly. All right, here's my Mako 3, rinse and repeat. Let's try to do this. Start about back here, headed for the basket. Oh, I like that. That is the first disc I've turned today, like legitimately turned. And I didn't turn it hard, but it basically did that. So, and it held that course. So, okay, it's a little bit more stable. This is my Atlas, as you could probably guess. Oh yeah, that's right. I got a hole from here. Back to the frame. There we go. Holy crap. Okay, that's actually the farthest throw I've made. It's probably about 230. It's still probably outside the circle, but it's more pin high with the basket than any previous throw. I'm gonna go for my Star Lion, a little bit more stable. I've only got 5 mid-ranges, so these are gonna be the 5 that I throw. That's right. It's possible I put the arm in the wrong place on one or more of those previous throws. This is new territory for me. I also turned that. I have a feeling I rounded unintentionally because I think I removed my off arm. So let's try that again. Sorry, I keep hitting my mic with my disc. All right, so that's 3 mid-ranges I turned actually for once. And that actually is maybe 20 shy of the basket to the right. So that was actually a good throw. More good throws in this round than any previous round. All right, it's starting to sprinkle a little bit. I will say that Rock X3 at the bottom, the orange one, was 15 feet just shy of the basket. That's an easy putt in. Unless I have the yips, I should be able to get that. But on average, these 4 were much closer to this basket than any of those runs where I made those 2 discs, those 4 fairway drivers go close to the basket. So that's good. That means in this situation I should be throwing a mid because of the 20-mile-per-hour wind going this way and the relative lack of arm speed that I have, that I'm able to convert into force onto the disc. All right, so arms, we're gonna do this again. I'm in the back of the frame. I threw that towards the ground again. I don't know why I'm doing that. I really don't. I don't have the feel of what's real. That was not good. You know, that wasn't terrible. It was probably better than average what I'm doing today, so I guess I shouldn't complain. But I did not throw that correctly. Let's not kid ourselves. There's no progress gained. I think I rounded. I feel like I rounded. That is a net loss. And I grip locked the disc a little bit. So back to keeping the off arm locked into the throwing arm. There we go. I think I did some elements right on that because that disc went pretty far. It's good, probably 60 feet out. That went pretty freaking laser-like, but because of the wind, it hyzered out. Okay, so that wraps up my backhand throwing training video. I thought I was pretty brilliant using my off arm to help me prevent rounding. Unfortunately, as soon as I took my left hand off my right bicep, I still pulled my upper arm too far across my chest. So nearly every throw, I reintroduced rounding. The second problem that I noticed is I kept throwing the disc into the ground. So for any of you who've dealt with these 2 issues, what have you done to fix them? I'm all ears. I've apparently burned into my muscle memory that I need to pull my upper arm across my chest every time I pull back. And because of that, I can't stop rounding. I've tried the box drill, but every time I get on the course, my body reverts to form. Secondly, what am I doing to cause the disc to throw too low? Do I need to start bringing the disc lower? You know, when I start reaching back or whatever you want to call it, extending or whatever, do I need to bring it down in order to do that? I don't know. I'm all ears. Anyhow, that's going to do it for this video. I hope that you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't already, as I have more unique disc golf content coming up. You won't want to miss it. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.